Hey everyone, thanks for joining us. The next episode of Red Valkyrie is about to start. Hi! Yay! Welcome everyone to another episode of Red Valkyrie. We'll start with introductions, I guess. So, of course, off to this side, because I always mess that up, is Cyborg. You gonna say hi?
Hello, welcome. No.
You're such a jerk. I, of course, am Shae Zombie, dressed as a zombie to try and really capture the essence of this book. And then down below here, we've got Rob Muerto. Say hey, Rob.
Hello, hi. Thanks for having me, guys.
Absolutely. It's absolutely our pleasure. So, the way that we always start these out is we like to kick it off to the creators that we have on to pitch us their books. So, let's go ahead and hear your pitch.
Okay, so Tales from the Classroom. I should give you the premise first.
Yes.
Which is, it's set in a world where only monsters exist. Humans, we don't exist, humans. We're sort of just like the figments of their imagination. Yeah, so there's sort of like an inversion going on. They tell scary stories about us.
I love it.
That's kind of Monsters Incorporated. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's got a little bit of the Monsters Inc. thing going on, but there's no interaction. They never shall the two sides meet. But yeah, so that's sort of the world it's set in. And the pitch is, well, it's basically a high school story in the vein of it's Revenge of the Nerds with zombies, basically. It's centered around this zombie teenager named Rob Muerto, as I myself am named. I stole my own protagonist's name. He attends the school named Romero High, which is an all-zombie high school. And over there, he's sort of like a Ferris Bueller type of character who can do no wrong. He gets away with everything. He's the most popular kid in school. Everybody loves him. The teachers, love him. The students worship him. All the zombie chicks are obsessed with him.
So he's top dog, is what you're saying.
Top dog, absolutely top dog. And then
Gotcha.
one day, his dad Melvin, who's a janitor, gets a potential job promotion. He gets to be the head janitor, but they have to move town, so they have to move to the big city. So they have a family reunion, and they decide to actually go ahead and do it. Rob's so cocky, he thinks, yeah, whatever. It's how hard can it be, really, to adjust to this new. To these new circumstances. And then he transfers over to a new school named Cthulhu High, which is a multi-species high school full of every single monster you could think of, from vampires to wolfmen to golems, everything. And there he has a rude awakening when he finds out that zombies are sort of perceived as being bottom of the totem pole. And treated as sort of second-class citizens.
Well, I don't like that at all.
And things he does befriend like a wolfman, Eddie the Wolfman, who becomes very quickly, because they become inseparable. But he also gets on the radar of Drake, who's Cthulhu High's own most popular kid in school. And he's this nasty vampire that makes his life miserable. His life or his lack thereof,
So he's like a vampire. What was his name? The evil kid from Harry Potter.
Yeah, he's the
Malfoy. Yeah,
Malfoy.
Draco. Yeah.
Well, they share very similar names. But he's the vampire version of that, basically. A little tougher and a little more physically imposing. And
It seems kind of interesting that you chose a Nosferatu, which is kind of like historically known for being horribly like disfigured and terrifying to look at, and like that's the coolest kid in school. That's
Well,
it's not so much like
in this world, there's different species of vampire. There's the Strigoi, there's the there's a number of them, and I figured that the Nosferatu would be the oldest, most regal vampire species. They're really, if the vampires are already like top of the social rung, basically, then the Nosferatu is top of the, as really top of the
right. There's very top of the food chain. Gotcha.
They're really top of the food chain because they're the most noble vampire species of vampire.
And it's really interesting because in that paradigm with humans not being a thing, not anything other than fiction, then humans wouldn't be, I guess, the norm that people would judge, as close to that as looks by. So, I mean, you'd really have whatever aesthetic that was in at the time, with humans not being the norm. So, like, the most human-looking vampires wouldn't be the most socially acceptable ones.
That's right, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, although if you scroll down, you'll see, I think you'll identify Drake quickly. He's not an ugly-looking... He's the indigo guy, the sort of purplish.
The purpley guy. The one that looks all brooding and pissy.
Yeah.
So it's nice. It's nice to know that the most popular guy in school still looks like a major asshole. That's accurate.
yeah, absolutely. And he wears
Emo or
Yeezys.
Dawson's Creek.
Same thing.
Yeah, those shoes are those Kanye West shoes. What are they called? Yeezys?
I have no idea.
Yeah, well, they're the most douchebag shoes in town.
I like it.
Wait, is your protagonist wearing Converse All-Stars?
Yeah. Well, we can't say that though.
No, he's wearing an undetermined kind of high top that just happened to be red and white and kind of iconic without being iconic. It's fine.
Well, maybe if if Converse get in touch with me and they want to sponsor this this comment, I'll be all about it.
Right.
Until then, it can be inverse most stars.
Mm-hmm. And that's
inverse some stars.
A few.
And on his at his feet, Rob's feet, is his best friend Eddie, the Wolfman, who's sort of like the slacker type
skater punk.
Skater punk. I'd have him smoke pot if I could, but this is for all ages. So
yeah, keep it a little bit more above board than that.
All right, yeah. And above him is Joshua the Golem and Principal Kong.
Oh, nice.
Okay, so hold on. The Golem guy looks like the kind that's going to be like, "Come on, guys, let's do study hall." Like.
No, he's sort of like a really eccentric character that that would otherwise be committed if not for his father's he comes from such a wealthy family, everybody just calls him eccentric. But he's sort of loopy and really fun. You never know what's going to come out of his mouth, and he's the most chaotic character of all of them.
Interesting.
Just from his look, I would have guessed, kind of board shorts, maybe, surfer dude or dude bro, something like that. That's pretty cool.
Well, so you have two other characters there that you didn't. Oh my gosh, EVS just went live. Every time you have two other characters you didn't introduce us to. So you got this green swamp creature guy.
That's Harry the Swamper. And he's Drake's best bud. They're inseparable. What Rob is to Eddie, Harry is to Drake.
That sounds about right. He looks like he would be.
And he carries that cane around. People think it's like some kind of pimp fashion sort of thing, but no, it's because they have the creature that he is. They're photosensitive to light, and so they need that's something that he needs to actually anything in any setting brighter than an underground cave, like they have trouble adjusting. So
Gotcha. So he's day blind, is what you're saying.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Gotcha.
Very cool. And then hot chick here that I'm assuming is Drake's girlfriend based on.
That's Drake's girlfriend. Yeah.
Yeah. So what is she?
She's a Strigoi.
A streak. Okay. All right.
So just another variation of vampire.
Oh yeah, and she's got that weird. She looks like the Mass Effect girl with those tentacle protrusions in her head.
Mm-hmm.
And when she goes full on vampire, there's things like sort of, they go like a lizard.
She's got like the little anger flap thing, is what you're saying.
She gets angry, then those things become like they go Super Saiyan.
All right.
A little Medusa on her. I got you.
Yeah.
I like it. Oh my gosh, this is one of my favorite pictures that you have in this. Is the kind of glow and the being just in a junkyard.
Yeah, I mean, this is something. Like for the promotion of this campaign, I did a few major missteps, but lessons learned, and I'm still enjoying the process, even though it could have gone better. But one of my mistakes was hedging all my bets on Instagram and really working my pregame via Instagram. So I built up my Instagram account and how to cook up all these pinups for them for that account. And this is one of them. This is the little text below it says like, oh, I was riding around town and I came across this gorgeous landfill and I just had to take a picture because for zombies this disgusting scene,
right? Exactly.
As it gets.
Basically, this is like the toes in the sand at the beach kind of thing for a zombie.
Exactly.
Okay, I just have to ask: is this rat just really in the foreground, or are there giant rats in this world?
I know it's in the foreground.
Okay, just making sure.
Damn, I was hoping there was rats I could ride. So you said that you did a lot of this on Instagram, which means that you have a mass amount of pinups. How many of those pinups are actually offered in your tiers?
I'm gonna offer 5. There's one of the tiers, like actually all of the tiers.
Do you want to go through your tiers now? We can kind of look at it.
Yeah, let's get to it. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So your featured tier is the Triple Threat. Tell us about that one.
So it's got 3 variant covers. It's got the original cover by Sebastian Brunico, who's my main penciler. And then it has another one done by Marco McCagney of Monster MD fame. And with colors by this really high-profile colorist named John Rausch, who's worked on everything from Avengers to... At the moment, I think he's in Invincible.
Interesting.
And then the third one, which is the one you were just looking at, with Principal Kong, that's done by this artist named Tad Lambert, who's like this mystery wonder boy that I think is meant for great things, but nobody really knows of him. At least not in the comic book space.
Gotcha. And so that's 3 physical copies of
you get 3 of those
for 33.
You get 3 of those. You get a little thank you note written by Rob Muerto himself, the character, not me.
It's like, I'm not thankful, but Rob is.
Yeah, exactly. I'm very thankful. Yeah. And you get some character, like a character sketch of one of the main characters from that's going to show up in part 2. So like a little bit of a sneak peek.
Very cool.
And you get 4 pinups like these that you see, but like in actually printed in high quality stock glossy stock paper. And
what size are you printing them?
Same as a standard comic book page.
Okay.
But cool. Yeah, I call them like bigger versions of trading cards.
Much bigger trading card.
Right.
For a
right.
for a gorilla or a golem's pocket, it's a trading card.
Perfect. See, that's all you needed. All right, and then you have your Digital Express edition.
Digital Express, just a book. It's as simple as that. You know, to read on your iPad. Why not?
Okay.
I'm really curious how you got 41 pages. You must be buffing this out a little bit with a few other pages.
No, we are. Yeah. Well, you know, I didn't want to ruin the thing, but we have like some short stories in there to. It's actually it's 48.
That's cool. I just wanted to make sure because we talk with a lot of creators, and I know from researching printing with a lot of people that we've helped in campaigns that you can only print 4 sides at a time. So
it's true, yeah, it's true. I only knew of that after the fact, so I had to cook up a few short stories. But it's great.
Little bits in there.
But better one more than less. So.
It's great, more bang for your buck. But I can't go back and change the perks now. So. You know, the people are going to get a pleasant surprise when they actually get the book and find out that it's bigger than they expected, you know.
Very nice.
Very cool.
And so that's $8 for the digital copy.
Yeah.
And then we have the digital deluxe.
Yeah, with high-res pinups, you know, like the one that you're looking at now that you really like, Shae. For instance, that makes for fantastic wallpaper. And, and you know, this is extremely low res. It doesn't really do it justice, and I think it's just a little something that people will appreciate.
Absolutely. No, that'd be a fun wallpaper for me to add into my like cycle of everything. Would be having that. Right. So that's really cool. That digital deluxe is a neat option.
So let me stop sharing for half a second, and then I'll reshare, and I'll give everyone an idea of what kind of detail is actually on this thing, because Indiegogo likes to scale down your images. This is what happens when you share one tab at a time. Where are you? There it is.
Whew, that is big.
Yeah, it's great. I love it. I love this. The colors are really good in this one. My color studio was inspired for this.
Yeah, no, this is a really cool.
And Marco's got such a good sense of he's got such a dynamic sense of not, what do you call it? Not framing, but yeah, I guess framing. Would you call it framing? Or just staging?
Yeah.
Right, the layout of the shot, so it counts.
The layout of you wouldn't call it a shot, but yeah.
It's kind of giving a little bit of a forced perspective to really show like Rob is the main piece, and you've got the big sun in the background to really kind of draw your eye to him, and then the more you start to look around, the more you start to see like, no, that's a pile of trash. That's a skull. Like there's just some things that are like there's a bike.
That's
right.
a big ass rad.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Funny.
Oh, I like it. That's really, really cool. I really like it. All right, let's get back to your tiers. So we just did the digital deluxe for 10. So now you have digital premium for 11. So what am I getting for an extra $1?
It's the exact same thing as before, but now you get a part 2 preview. Part 2 of the book, you know.
Gotcha.
So this is you know, the first installment, hopefully in of many.
How many are you hoping for?
Well, you know, for the first major storyline, I would say 3.
Okay, 3 is a good number.
I mean, it's the 3-act structure, right?
Right.
But and this is based on a screenplay, so I think a screenplay that I originally wrote, and yeah, it's just it goes well that way.
Interesting. Okay, I'm saving my questions, but chat, start thinking of questions now, and in fact I'm going to type it so they all right, so the next one is a standard physical copy for 13.
Yeah, standard is just the book. I think this is what most people are going to get, I think, because it's a good price point, and I think everybody just prefers to have a physical. You know, comic book fans, it's either you either hold it in your hands or you're not really I mean, the other options are fine if you want to be on the subway and reading it on your iPad quickly or whatever. But I think nothing substitutes a printed version of the book.
Right.
Right.
It's people like what they can hold in their hand.
Exactly.
Traditionalist.
Yes.
Right. Us old geezers.
I mean, $13 for a comic is really inexpensive too, which
And
is
4
pretty
pinups.
cool. And 4 pinups. Good hell, Rob. All right, that's one hell of a deal. I don't know if we've seen one that's been quite that cheap to give you a physical copy of a 41-page comic plus 4 pinups.
Color.
Yeah,
comic.
I'm feeling generous.
Color.
We have seen them that cheap, but it's never been color.
Yeah, so that's really cool. All right, now we have the double whammy for 21.
That's so. Now we're going to get into the. So it's basically you get 2 copies of the book, right?
Mm-hmm.
With the Marco Maccagni variant cover, and then you go down and you go back to the featured perk, which is the triple threat.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha.
And if we reach, one of the stretch goals, I'll unlock another perk. I'm still trying to figure out exactly what I'm going to include in it.
You'd be surprised how many creators go into their campaigns and not really have a clear idea of what stretch goals they're going to offer.
Wait! You keep scrolling past this thing that I need to see.
Hold on. Starting at the pinups?
Yes. Okay. Cute class photo. Love it. Great. The girl upside down is hilarious. I need you to scroll down a little. I need to see the next pinup because the next pinup is killing me. He's working out and he has his leg detached. And, like, now I just love it.
All right. It's cool.
That's how I feel
on
every time I
Instagram,
work out.
on Instagram, the little blurb that I had was pro tip to all my zombie peeps out there: never skip leg day.
Right. And that's what's hilarious to me is that he's on a leg machine, right? And his leg is as thin as his arm. I mean, it's just sad.
It's so funny. I really like that. I think that's hilarious. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm good now. I just had to see because it's like dripping.
Oh,
that's adorable. He's brushing his teeth.
No, that's what happens when. So when zombies don't go for in a relatively short period of time without eating brains, they enter this sort of semi-catatonic state. It's the thing you see in movies and TV shows. There's the typical zombie where they go like brains, they roam around mindlessly.
right.
That's what happens when they don't eat brains.
So is it just mentally they start to degenerate, or is it?
Yes, they degenerate, and then after a while they're just like they just sit in the corner drooling, or or they roam around mindlessly.
Gotcha.
Okay.
I'm imagining this hospital where there are zombies in treatment wards getting like intravenously pumped with brains to bring them back from their mindless state.
Oh,
Sorry,
that's funny.
my brain goes to weird places.
Yeah, it does.
Oh, is this the gym teacher?
That's Coach Frank. Yeah.
Coach Frank. Oh my gosh, Coach Frank is probably my new favorite.
I love the shiny bolts.
Yes. I love the buzz cut. He's like super serious about this shit.
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh.
And his finger is about the length of your protagonist's face. It's like, look here, little man. We're going to put some meat on those bones.
Oh, that's so funny. Wait, scroll back up for just a second. Are they climbing? They're using the mummy's like bandages as rope?
I think no, it's a rope, and then I think his bandage gets caught in the mix, and
that's okay. That would be very unfortunate. all the things you don't consider when you're a human and not a monster.
Right.
Oh my god.
So it's funny because he's doing a push-up, and you'll see if he actually goes down, he actually completes the push-up, then his chest is a goner because of that boot.
Yeah.
And you actually do see that the chest is punctured.
Oh my
He's
gosh.
doing it.
I like those boots.
Yeah.
Of course you do.
They look kind of orthopedic. Is that what the contraption on them is for?
Actually, I wanted. I'm not wholly satisfied with the boots. I wanted them to look like the most encumbersome thing of all time because I think it's hilarious to have a gym teacher in a tracksuit and then these super mega heavy, burdensome boots that would be the exact opposite of what you think a gym teacher would put on his feet. So I'm having them redesigned.
Frankenstein.
I'm having them redesigned by Rob Willis. Do you know?
Ooh, good choice.
Yeah.
Oh, another Rob.
I know all of the Robs.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. we have a little lobby going on, you know.
I can tell you guys just get together and you're like, all right, so I'm gonna change my name to Rob, and this is gonna be my comic, and I'm gonna need y'all to pump it. And everyone's like, yep, done, no problem. But you have to be a Rob. I don't know if for the audience, I don't know if any of you have ever looked out there, but start looking at all of these indie creators and look at just how many of them go by Rob.
Rob Liefeld's influence is just so great that
so many Robs. It's great.
Yeah. So that's his family.
Aww.
Nothing good. I think it's kind of cute. It's his dog Necro. His father Melvin. His brother Mickey, and his mother Mary Jo. I created an account for her. She just does recipes of brains themed recipes.
Oh, that's good. Oh, that's funny.
I've got to ask, what is the dad?
He's a zombie as well. People say he looks like Thanos for some reason, like a cross between Thanos and Stan Lee. But he's a zombie. He's not. All these they all look a lot grosser when their shirts are off. The zombie. You can really see the zombie side of them.
I would imagine.
Yeah.
Well, seeing the dude's esophagus out all the time, that's yeah.
I wasn't that dedicated. I felt like I needed to keep something to the imagination.
Yes, but Shae, did you do your nails?
I did.
Oh, beautiful.
Not quite the same.
No, I didn't do zombie nails. I just did black.
That's him and his best bud Eddie, Robin Eddie, and that glass vial on the floor. That glass vial on the floor may or may not be a bong.
We're gonna go.
Surely it's just a vase.
Yeah.
Of course.
So Dead Zeppelin, that's one band, and what's this other one?
Howell Garden.
Nice. So there's actually two really good questions that we have in the chat so far. So Elasmat wants to know what your artist influence was as far as artistic style goes, if you know that.
Well, it's not. I'm not doing the pencils for this, but my sort of direction to Sebastian, who's my main penciler, and the book's penciler, was that I wanted to capture that sort of creepy Beetlejuice, sort of feel, but with a Disneyfied, gloss. Put through the Disney, conveyor belt, basically.
Nice.
So a little less Tim Burton, a little bit more like Mickey Mouse kind of feel.
not totally gruesome, but just spooky enough that the kids are drawn to it, because I think every kid is drawn to spooky.
Absolutely.
I know I was, but just short of grotesque,
Right. And
but although part of the fun with zombies is seeing them fall apart, and you get plenty of that in the book, but never like, I can't even look at that,
Right. So grotesque, but not into like the realm of disgust or repulsion.
Yeah.
All right, and then the next question came from Black Star. It said, "Did you have a problem determining how much zombie reference went into this character? You mentioned the blank stare, the eating brains look."
Determining how much zombie references went into
Yeah.
this character.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I would hope I try to encapsulate as much zombie as possible. This is
Right. So were you going for all the tropes? I think is the question.
Yeah. I try to incorporate all that.
Cool.
I like it. I feel like you approached it in a way that at least still gives you, because your main character is a zombie, and usually when you're talking about zombies, people are trying to talk about them being mindless and unable to cope. Like they don't think, they just react, and it's all kind of, based off of baser needs. And I think that the way that you kind of gone about it is, as long as they're eating the brains that they need in order to survive, they're fine.
Yeah, but yeah, even the thing with malls and stuff that which is almost archetypal to zombies now. Even that's addressed, not in this book, but it will be in the future. Like how the absolute best thing a zombie could do in the weekend is to go to the mall and just roam around and mindlessly consume.
Because where he's taking the brains from.
I'm saying this because every zombie movie, as you well know, they're either like invading a mall, or everybody's stuck in a mall, or in a Vegas casino or something. And it seems to me that the zombie is some kind of metaphor for mindless consumerism, and I would like to incorporate that into the story as well. Not in an overt way, but sort of give a nod to it at least.
No, absolutely. And I've actually heard that analogy before about zombies being about consumerism and how people just buy shit that they don't really need all the time. And
right,
absolutely.
And the sort of hive mind mentality where
right.
I really like that it's not a dunce cap; it's a zombie cat. That makes me happy. It was like, you're being a zombie right now. Put the hat on and go sit in the corner.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I am a zombie.
The last naughty scratched out that I will not eat brains in class, and he's like, "Screw your stupid rules! I'm going to eat all the brains I want."
Yeah, that's like Bart Simpson does that in the Simpsons intro.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Awesome. So, Skits wants to know, what would you do differently on your next campaign?
What would I do differently on my next campaign? I'd take on every one of Coach Malin's lessons for successful Indiegogo campaign. Namely, create my own YouTube channel and build a platform out of there for good solid 6 months, and then get out there and also familiarize myself with the community and then
so network.
Yeah, exactly.
Network.
I'm very cool. I just did the Instagram thing and felt, wow, I have 12,000 subscribers, followers.
Mm-hmm.
So this is going to do gangbusters, absolutely. But what I didn't know is that the people on Instagram, they just 99% of them just hit like and move on.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't think that there's anything wrong with doing at least some promotion on Instagram or on Facebook if that's something that you like, or if that's someplace that, especially when you're doing like a family friendly or a kid geared comic, doing something where there's going to be more of a young audience is probably not a bad move by any means. But I would say that when you're talking indie comics specifically, Twitter is one of the biggest networking areas for indie creators to kind of get out there, get to know other people. And so if it comes down to doing one or the other, I would do Twitter before I would do anything else.
But I completely agree with you. And I saw that because I only really got into Twitter post-launch. But already I feel like it's been far more productive than the Instagram account.
Right. It's a lot more of an engaged community.
Of course, yeah.
You know what this reminds me of? The high school version of, did you see the movie Warm Bodies?
I did not. I did not. But but it's a zombie with the red thing as well. I know. I saw the poster, and I know that it's like a love story, right?
Right. It's about a zombie. The main guy in the movie is a zombie who's trying to overcome his instincts, and about
Mm.
how basically months after the zombie apocalypse, how zombies are kind of evolving, getting back some of their memory and stuff like that, and he's the first, and he does it because he kind of falls for this girl that gets trapped outside, and I guess the zombie infested part of the world when she was out doing whatever, and it's a zombie comedy basically. So that's a little bit of what this reminds me of. It was a really funny movie.
Yeah, I can see that. I just to go back to like the genesis of this project. This is actually over 10 years old, and it was called Monster High originally, and then the actual Monster High came out. Are you familiar with Monster High, the Mattel property?
Yes.
Yes.
The
Which is
little
like,
the little girl.
yeah, it's for tweens, and it's for like little girls, and but yeah, like so I had written the screenplay. It was called Monster High. I was giving it to everybody that I thought was even remotely connected to Hollywood. And then after a few months of doing this, Mattel announced the property, and I'm like, "Oh God, they stole it from me!" But they didn't. But at the time, I thought they had. And then I got, it was like that was a big punch to the gut, but I decided to soldier on and turned the screenplay into a comic book, actually, because I was always a huge fan of comic books. And
So that actually brings up a question for me then. So if this is something that you kind of created that ended up kind of getting taken over by a much bigger company like Mattel, are you worried that somebody's going to try and come back for copyright infringement on Tales of the Classroom?
No, not really. I don't think they didn't take it. It's just at the time I thought they had.
Okay.
But it's one of those deals where it's like, I do believe there's some kind of artistic synchronicity. There's some ideas that are just meant to pop off. And this was shortly after Twilight.
Yeah, so it was kind of ready.
Twilight was a massive hit, and that was like a love story between, a girl torn between a werewolf and a vampire. And it was like high school monsters, so it was just it was primed. It was going to happen, sooner or later. Just the notion of just monsters in high school.
Yeah.
It's not that, and I thought it was like an amazingly original idea, but then somebody pointed me to. I just found out about this like 2 weeks ago. This Hanna-Barbera cartoon. That's with the guy. What's the name of the guy from Ghostbusters? The nerdy guy.
Harold Ramis.
Yeah, it was called Harold Ramis. Ramis is not Monster High, but something similar. Let me see if I can. Harold Ramis cartoon monsters.
I didn't even think he was still around.
No, not that guy. But it's not that guy. I'm talking about the guy that falls in love with Sigourney Weaver.
Bill Murray?
No. The little squirrely one.
Oh, Rick Moranis.
Oh, exactly. Rick Moranis.
There you go. I'm really bad with celeb names.
All right. So Gravedale High is the name of this show.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's basically this basic notion of monsters in high school. It's a completely different execution. But yeah, so I'm happy that it really wasn't that much of an original idea. It was out there in the sort of collective unconscious already floating around. But
right, so it was a thing that its time had come.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, so I pitched. It was a screenplay. I pitched it to these. I had the opportunity to pitch it to 2 different publishers, independent publishers, and they both really liked it. And they got it to sort of like a little a mini bidding war to see who would adapt it. and it was, the choice came to me, and I decided to go with the guys whose deal was more attractive for me from a merchandising perspective and ownership of the IP and all that. And but I should have gone with the other people, because the one that I did choose, the publisher that I did choose, ended up folding and just filing for bankruptcy halfway through the process.
Oh,
That's
geez.
unfortunate.
So now I was stuck with 40 plus pages of pencils, right, for the book,
Mm-hmm.
which was originally slated to be a 100 plus page thing, and I sort of just whatever, I gave up on it, and then got busy with many other things, and life went on, and my wife kept nagging me, like saying, you should really take up the mantle again, and that comic book, don't just let it die. It was
Good woman.
such a cool idea. And then my son was born, and I knew I absolutely had to do it, because it's the kind of thing that I think he would appreciate, and he does appreciate. So I'm happy that I did it alone, just because of that, but just because of how much of a kick he gets out of the Instagram stories that I did for this, and he asked me questions about the characters, and he's my number one fan, actually.
Oh, good. That's always cool.
Yeah.
Well, gosh, I like the look of this. I really do. Oh, and we have stretch goals.
We do, and I just wanted to hit those real quick before I scroll back up to the top of the page.
Absolutely. Okay, so at 3,000.
But look at these numbers and the way that my campaign is going. These are all pipe dreams. At least the last 3 are pipe dreams at the moment. Unless I get on EBS's stream and things go gangbusters from one day to the next.
So I will say, never count yourself out.
Yeah.
It's really about hitting the right audience and getting the right messaging out there. And I'm going to be honest, with as much as I'm on Twitter and as much as I'm trolling for new content and everything, I barely heard about this. So
really?
And even when I went on, if you remember, I went on to your Twitter, and I was like, well, let me find like one of his tweets about this particular thing, and I saw retweets for everybody else, but I couldn't find stuff for you. And I think that's probably that's one of the main downfalls of a lot of creators, is because it makes you feel like you're being selfish, or you're being like pompous and egomaniacal. And if you're not going to push your book, you can't expect everybody else to push it for you. So I think that was probably a little bit of a backslide for you, is that you really did want to try and push for all of these other creators and hope that they would reciprocate, but that isn't always how it goes.
But even still, I still have a pretty good chunk of time to go, and I'm confident that with the right platforms, this book can get a lot of projection, and I think when that happens, it's obviously the numbers are bound to go up.
So you still have a month. You have 29 days left. That is a crap ton of time. That is so much time. What I would say is definitely over the next month, really focus on doing posts that are meaningful, not just constantly back my book, here's the link, back my book, because that a lot of people do that, and it becomes white noise very, very quickly. But if you can go through, you've got a lot of really interesting characters, you've got a lot of really interesting backstory. You showed us the little 2-page Indiegogo like frustration of Indiegogo little webcomic thing that you did. Posting things like that, and posting like backgrounds of all of your characters, and kind of giving us an insight as to who they are and what they do.
I had a bunch of character bios here, but included in the page. But actually, John Mallon, who sort of endorsed this project, he's really he really likes it, and he says he'll, once I recut the trailer, that that you see over there up top,
Yep.
with an introductory sequence with voiceover, like explaining what the book is about and everything.
Mm-hmm.
That he'll run it in his own channel and put it attached to one of his videos, which is great.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. But those character bios I would throw on Twitter, I think is what Shae's saying. I mean, even if you don't put it on the campaign, put it on Twitter to get people interested, or even if it wasn't character bios, even if it was just, exploring the world and giving people a bit more of depth into the world that you're trying to sell a part of. Yeah, exactly. Get them invested.
Right, because as of right now, I mean, there's so many really, really good campaigns that are active. It's really easy to fall to the wayside and to not seem as awesome. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that is the case with this particular project, because it is a really cool idea, and I like the art, I like the colors. I think that it sounds really fun, like the couple of pages that you have on the campaign page where you can actually read and get a feel for the story. Mm-hmm. I legitimately laughed. I mean, it's a little bit cheesy, but it's like cheesy in the best possible way. It's kind of it's kind of ridiculousness as far as storytelling goes, but it was really, really interesting. And I think that it's just a little bit more marketing, a little bit more pointed marketing. You can probably more eyes on it, and you can hit some of those goals that are saying just seem like pipe dreams. I mean, the last week of it is,
but they're pipe dreams. But I hit them. I'm very happy to hit them. But it's not like it's not an existential crisis if I don't.
Oh, of course not.
I think this is. I see this as sort of a proof of concept more than anything else. This campaign, and I hope that it does well. But if it doesn't do gangbusters, I'm not gonna get depressed. I'm still gonna. Press on and launch the second one, but this time with the second campaign for the second part of the book, I'll have a lot more tools in my locker, and I'll do it in a much different manner, and hopefully avoid a lot of the pitfalls that I ran into.
Right. Any comics is really, a learning process. Mm-hmm. Even campaigns that don't succeed. I mean, you're at 93% right now, I think.
Yeah.
93%.
You're probably going to be fine.
No, but that goal, I really lowballed it, but yeah.
Mm-hmm. Right. But even campaigns that fail, I mean, they give creators the tools to come back and really find out things that they could have done better and go back at it and really succeed the next time. All the campaigns that I've seen fail, I've seen come back and do so much better the second time around. So, I mean, like anything, you're going to learn, and with part two, it's just going to keep getting better.
Cool.
So we have one more question from the audience from Skits. He says, "What is your plan for the book's future, and do you have more projects planned?"
Do I have more projects planned? Outside of this one in the comic book space, those are pipe dreams. Those are actually pipe dreams, the other projects that I have planned. But for this property and for this book, I have 2 more books planned. We'll see. I'm definitely going to launch the second campaign. We'll see about the third one. I mean, if the second campaign doesn't do well, then maybe it's just not written in the stars, and I'll have to call it quits and pack it up. You know what I mean? But the second campaign, I'll definitely launch it, and hopefully it'll be the second of many.
Yes, hopefully. Well, it really does seem like a very interesting project. I really, really do like the art, and I think the concept seems really fun. And the fact that you've kept it kind of accessible to all ages is pretty cool too.
Right. Yeah. Thank you.
Absolutely. Did you have any last questions?
I really appreciate that from a fellow zombie.
I'm a harsh critic, but I try to be fair.
Zombie solidarity.
Yes.
Zombie solidarity. Exactly.
Yes.
Gotta stick together.
No, I didn't have any other questions. I just wanted to say that as the next 29 days progress, as you work to close out the comic, if you do need or want any help, reach out to Shae or I, and we'll be happy to give you what signal boost we can and whatever advice we can offer in terms of being able to reach more of an audience.
Absolutely.
With our 1,200 plus followers. So.
Well, thank you, Sai. That means a lot, and thank you, Shae. You two have already been very helpful, and I'm very glad that I was able to do this.
Oh, you're very welcome. We appreciate you coming on. And audience, this is your last chance. Going.
It's gonna be going, gone. I'm pretty sure. They had, you know what? I'm actually very impressed. They had some very good questions today. Made me very happy.
Yeah.
All right, well, everybody, we're going to start wrapping this up. And Shae, I'm sorry, I'm stepping on your toes with the outro, but I want to remind everybody that we have a second show coming up today. So keep an eye out on Twitter for us to announce when that's happening. It's at 8 p.m. Eastern this evening with the lovely skits, as you guys have seen in the chat. So please feel free to join us for that. And Shae, go ahead and take us out.
Well, thank you again, everyone, for joining. Thank you very, very much, Rob, for coming on. We very much appreciated having you. Your project looks super awesome. If you haven't and you are interested, let me post this link one more time. It is in the chat. It is in the video description. There is no excuse for you not to go and back this book. It looks like it's going to be a really interesting one. And then obviously don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Red Valkyrie, and we'll catch you guys next time. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.